All right, it is 7 o'clock, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law of New Jersey, notice of this July 29, 2025 meeting of the Bridgewater Raritan Regional Board of Education was posted electronically on the district's website and provided on January 8, 2025 by sending an annual written notice to the Courier News, Star Ledger, Bridgewater Township Clerk, Raritan Borough Clerk, and by posting on the bulletin board in the Harmon V. Wade Administration Building. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Lumsky, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Lee.
Here.
Ms. Asuna. Here. Mr. Joshi. Ms. Loughran. Dr. Lee.
Here.
Mr. Pepe.
Here.
Mr. Walker.
Here.
Ms. Kalistri.
Here.
Mr. Singer.
Here. We are up to item number 5, the President's Report. I don't have much to report. This will be covered in FFT, but the district is really buzzing with a lot of construction and activity, making the much needed improvements that we are funding mainly through referendum. I just wanted to quickly thank Superintendent Beers, Mr. Lumsky, and Mr. Letzo for all their work over the summer. In addition, all the other administrators who do work over the summer, but this is a great undertaking that they're going through, and it's going to be transformative for the district. With that, I'm going to move on to committee reports. Up first is the Academic Committee with Mr. Joshi, who needs a second to get the report up.
Okay, the committee met on July 14th at 5 o'clock. In attendance were myself, Ms. Asuna, Mr. Pepe, Mr. Singer, Dr. Jones, Mr. Moriello, Mrs. Madia, Ms. Edge, and Mr. Beers. It was a full house. First on the agenda was the social studies textbooks. Ms. Edge reviewed the pilot and recommendations for a new academic level resource for US 1 and US 2. The current resource, published in 2013, is no longer in print and lacks both digital access and online support materials. Due to a change in the course sequence, updated resources are therefore needed. A committee of social studies teachers evaluated 4 potential resources, with 2 selected for classroom pilots. A parent committee also reviewed and provided feedback on the recommended text, which is U.S. History Interactive, the SAVAS, and the second text, Human Geography for AP course from Bedford, Freeman, and Worth, was also recommended for the new AP Human Geography course. Any questions? Okay. Item 2 was the 2024-2025 BRRSD NJGPA, or the Access BOE presentation. Mr. Moriello presented NJGPA outcomes, a graduation readiness measure in English, language arts, and math, and reviewed WIDA, or the Access results, the annual assessment tracking K-12 multilingual learners' progress in academic English. A full report will be shared with the board in August. Item 3 on the agenda was small group investigations, CGI highlights. Mrs. Madia shared highlights of culminating projects for small group investigations in the primary grades. Any questions? Sorry. Nope. Okay. Item 4 was policy review. Policy 5230, late arrival and dismissal, was reviewed, as well as Regulation 5230, late arrival and early dismissal. As part of the ongoing policy review, Dr. Jones presented the current policy and regulation. The committee requested to examine a more recent Strauss-Esme versions of this policy at the next meeting and may suggest revisions. We adjourned. Yeah, it was a stormy night. I believe it was a long meeting, probably like around 7 o'clock we adjourned. And our next meeting is on August 18th. I think it was around 7 o'clock. It was a stormy night.
Yeah, it was about a quarter to 7.
Huh?
I think it was about a quarter of 7, right?
Yes, quarter to 7, 7 o'clock, yep.
No worries. Thank you, Mr. Joshi. Up next is Mr. Walker with Finance, Facilities, and Transportation.
We met at July 22nd at 5:30 p.m. We started out, the first part of the agenda, in attendance was myself, Mr. Pepe, Mr. Lee, Mr. Singer, Mr. Lomsky, Mr. Beers, and Mr. Letzo. Our first part of the agenda is we made a construction site visit, so we started at the high school. When we visited the high school auditorium, it shows the auditorium, the painting, the seat removal, the stage extension, and then proceeded to the media center to view all the new carpeting install and the painting and the projects that are going on there. The committee then moved on to Basil and Few to view the new turf progress, the track, and and the bleachers being put in for those areas. Next, we moved on to Adamsville, and we looked at the renovation for the kindergarten classroom at Adamsville. All the projects are on schedule and are to be completed prior to the school year. Remember, it's only it's 5 weeks since school ended, right? So we're halfway through the summer, so you're at the halfway point. So it's kind of, when you only have 10 weeks to get projects done, they're doing pretty well. And from what Kevin said, everything's on schedule to get ready to be done. And there were no recommendations this time. Any questions? All right. Next, we went actually next after the high school football field, went to the township softball field area. The business administrator shared the cost estimates to improve the township softball fields on Somerset Corporate Boulevard. And should the district decide to utilize them for girls softball, several options were discussed, and district administration will work with the township on a possible agreement for the field utilization. And there were no recommendations at this time. Are there any questions? All right. The next on the item on the agenda was we reviewed the business agenda. The business administrator reviewed the draft business agenda, action items for the meeting this evening, with special attention paid to the purchase sections. And as always, there's updates before, it's a week or two before the meeting. There's a lot of contracting going on, so there's a lot of awards and still contracts that were put in there in the modified agenda. We consensus approved it, and it's on the agenda for this evening. Any questions? Transportation update, the 25-26 school year. The business administrator shared with the committee that the district will be meeting with the transportation consultant to determine the best options for the routing for the 2025-26 school year. So we're all excited about that. And you're also going to meet with them for the 26-27 school year too, right? That's the other option. So it actually should be the 27-26 school. Yeah, 26-27. We just got to change that in minutes, Kevin. Sorry about that. I didn't catch that. Any questions? Yes.
I just noticed there was a big amount, not a big amount comparatively, but a large amount for the auditorium. And I was just wondering if there was a big change in what was happening there. Because it looks like there was like a change of almost $50,000.
You mean change order? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a damaged conduit wire found under the concrete floor. That's a big piece of it, and adding a cyclorama in the back.
That's all within the budget, correct? That's. Oh.
Yes.
I have a question regarding the bus study. Do we have the input from the study include the school start time of any of the schools?
Yes, the school start times are being factored in and in the different options. Yes.
So we'll hear a report of that when that report
Yes.
becomes available to our committee,
Yes.
to our whole board. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Final discussion, the business manager shared with the committee a report posted on the NJODE website regarding recommendations to the rate increase for the state healthcare benefits and the plans for the 2026 school year and its possible impact on the district budget. For those who aren't aware, the state healthcare plan put out a 34% increase to districts in the state healthcare plan right now. And I think it was like 54 for, what was the prescription? It was even higher, correct, for prescription?
I believe it was like 58%.
58% prescription. We are we are able to weather that storm. One, thank gosh our budget's not done like other districts, but we are self-insured. So we were able, Mr. Lomsky and the administration are able to, we factor that in our benefits and our experience. So we are not impacted as much by this, but it also can be used for a bank cap next year as you look at the comparison. Also discussed was
Excuse me.
yeah.
Sorry, just a quick comment on that. I mean, yes, we're able to weather some of that, but that is like a canary in the mine, right? Like when the state comes up with a 30-something%, we can be pretty sure that our health costs might go up as well. Right? Well, I mean, last year the state forecasted a 14% increase, and that's what that happened. So just concerned that might result, that might come to fruition with us as well, but hopefully we're in a better position to handle it.
I mean, Integrity does a pretty good watching our usage, correct? And
Yeah, they monitor it and let us know where we're standing as far as our budget. And as the increase in just providing the services by hospitals, doctors' offices have been going up, that will affect us. So,
great, thank you. Also discussed were ways to foster a commitment to respect the district facilities and ensure the district's investments in them are long-lasting. I mean, we spend a lot of time assessing. We had the community positively, vote for the referendum. We're spending both referendum money and capital money to keep the district facilities at a level to foster a safe and welcoming and enriching environment. When just when someone uses our facility, take pride in it. You see a piece of garbage, pick it up. Sometimes you hear the broken window syndrome. So if you see one or two or three, another one. Hey, everyone, take their time and look after our facilities, please. So one of those areas. There were no recommendations at that time. Our next meeting is August 19th at 5:30 p.m. And we had a really long meeting. We ended at 8 o'clock, but we traveled some areas. So I thank the administration for taking the time to take us on the tour, because we both had Bob, Kevin, and Mr. Letzo with us, walking around and answering questions. It was great. So it was fun to see. It's a kind of a mess right now, but it's coming along.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Dr. Lee?
I actually had a question after the academic committee. I wasn't recognized. Can I ask now, or is there a different time I should ask? Okay. So I had a question regarding SGI group study investigation. What is our cohort outcome of most of our SGI groups? Like, let's say after a year, would the kids still be in the gifted talented program, or would they continue to a different program, or what's the outcome?
Well, it depends, right, on how the performance is, and I'm sure they're being elevated, right, Dr. Jones, to the next level.
Yeah, so with the small group investigations, the one thing that's a little bit different about that and the cluster group, which is different from how AI is that your kids are reassessed every year for it. So it's not like you're in small group investigations and then it follows you the next year. But as far as the cohort, it's continuing to grow. So we're just finding more and more kids are able to participate. I don't have all the numbers on me, but we can get that for you so you can look at it.
Yes.
I think it's been very successful to the point where we took some of the small group investigation projects and practices and we actually wrote some of them into classrooms, including AI classrooms, because we really were not doing things in those classrooms to deeply explore topics and to really promote that intellectual curiosity. We were simply just teaching the grade above in math, So we're trying to merge that to do a better job of appropriately challenging kids. So I can get numbers, though.
That's wonderful. I think that gifted talent is very important. I would like to see the success of our new program, which is this small group investigation in the gifted and talented.
Yeah.
I was curious, if I can see the numbers, longitudinal following of the kids.
For the small group investigations?
Yes.
Sure, we can look into that.
Yes.
I think we can do that. Yep.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I wanted to bring up something as well. I had a couple questions too. I wasn't sure if we were going to get a presentation on it or not, but I was going through the NJGPA presentation. I just have a few questions with that, if that's all right. Okay, perfect. I was like, I'm not sure.
So if you have any questions
oh, yeah,
on that,
I've-
please email
Yeah,
Dr.
perfect.
Jones and
Okay.
Mr. Joshi so that they can get it to Mr.
Yeah.
Morrell.
Yeah, and just so you know, like in the academic committee presentation, like sometimes based on the questions that people send us, we do more investigating. So we actually went back and did some more research with some more data, which will be part of what we're able to present in August. So if you send us stuff in advance, we're just better able to answer your questions.
Got it. No, I'll definitely do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess maybe pivoting off of that a little bit into like more the U.S. history side. Obviously with the move to grade 9, that'll obviously eliminate U.S. history 1, a push. So I was just wondering, like, how are you kind of finding ways to bridge the difference between what kids are going to learn in like AP U.S. history 1, academic or honors, as they go into like maybe AP?
You mean how we're going to make sure that the kids who take U.S. History 1
even
honors
academic, yeah.
are prepared to take AP. We
Correct.
rewrote curriculum over the summer. So to account for that, because you are correct that looking at the way that we used to teach it, it was very different courses. So, I mean, the reality is there really never was, there were not 2 AP classes for U.S. history because there's one test. So it was kind of this artificial thing that we created, but you're right, we basically took something and divided it into 2. So that required rewriting curriculum over the summer to make sure that kids are as prepared as they always were to take the actual US 2 AP.
So maybe a little follow-up on that. Like, let's say a student were enrolling in APUSH 1 in their
Yes.
freshman year. Like, would that prepare them for AP US History 2 in their
Yes,
second year?
yes.
I mean, as a result, like, then I guess the question I would have is, like, then what's the purpose, right, of having, like, academic honors and then US History if they're all kind of preparing for that same potential level of, AP US History
Why have
too?
3 levels, you're saying?
Exactly,
So
yeah.
you know what? We actually really talked about that, and we were on the fence about that too, whether you just, okay. I've seen it in other districts where they only have 2 levels. They
Yeah.
have academic, and then they have AP, so you're doing one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, we decided, at least for now, that we're offering all 3 levels because we have so many students who have so many different needs and talents.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't think that every student would necessarily want to take AP, but we didn't want to then say to those students, well, you can't be challenged in an honors class. So
Yeah.
we thought like we might have a cohort of kids still who would really benefit from having that level, that middle
Yeah.
level still. So we'll see what happens. I mean, that could be something that we come back to in a year or 2 years and say,
Yeah.
it's not working or we don't have the enrollment. But that's kind of what we were thinking, you
Yeah.
know?
At least for me, like, my main concern is that we'll have like a big change in like the rigor from an academic class to AP, and so like my worry for students is like that'll be a big shock for them, right? And so I want to make sure that shock is
Well,
small.
so they would go into honors and then
yeah.
go into AP.
But what if
So-
they wanted to do academic and then go?
Well,
to AP?
if they want to do academic and then go into AP, that would probably involve an appeal. And you're right, it would be a little bit more challenging. It is now, we have the same thing now because we have this happen all the time in English where a student could be in an academic level class and, receive A's all year and they are able to take an
Yeah.
AP course. And so, we try to help kids, to actually teachers try to work with kids more individually to transition them. And then you hope by the end of September, beginning of October, they're caught up. So sometimes that works. And some kids do great. Some kids, it's more of a struggle for them. So that's
Got
why
it.
we want to create those different pathways,
So then I guess my last question is then why not have AP US History 1 available for freshmen?
Freshmen. Because there isn't, because AP, right? The
Yeah.
AP test is, for the one level of class, and we're required for graduation requirements to have kids
to.
take 2 years of U.S. history, and then they need a year of world. So if we condensed all of U.S. history into one level and gave it to them as freshmen, then, they wouldn't be fulfilling the graduation requirements. That way, they would still need a second class for U.S. history, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then I think what this is going to do, we'll see, is it's going to add, we're going to be able to add in the AP world because right now, we don't offer it to freshmen because it would be a very challenging course for a freshman to have. So they're just have AP, and World Civ and they can take academic or honors, and we don't have the AP course. So this is going to open up another pathway eventually when kids are juniors, but we'll have 2 years before that will happen because all the cohorts will need to have both years of U.S. history, 2 years of U.S. history.
So yeah, I understand the requirement, but I guess I hate to circle back to my original question, but like, why can't we, if the honors program is preparing students for AP US History 2, then why can't we just make the honors the AP?
To what end?
I think he means
If you're
kind of
not
the way,
taking the
you
AP,
might
then-
mean, Jeremy, and I mean, we could go
Yeah.
back and talk about it during academic
yeah.
committee, but I think what you're saying actually would kind of reroute us back to where we started, but we would just be moving all the courses. And what I'm trying to say is there actually isn't a AP US 1. There isn't. There's no test that goes with it. There's a test that comes at the end of the second year, right? So this way what's happening is we're kind of, I mean, one could argue artificially boosting GPAs by giving an AP class for something where an AP test doesn't exist, you know what I mean? And so what we did in preparing for this is we really, I mean, not only did we consider what we thought would be in the best interest for our own students and create more opportunities and additional pathways, but we reviewed, I mean, I have a very large list of all the districts in New Jersey looking at the different ways that people did it to try to get a sense of how other schools, you know, kind of successfully create these opportunities for kids. So that's how we made the decision.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question.
So in a way, you're saying have US 1, AP US 1 for freshman year?
So I guess just based on what you said, I do agree there's not like an AP US History 1, AP US History 2, obviously exam, but maybe like, I know there's like 1 or 2 courses out there where it's like honors, but you can sort of get AP sort of weighted GPA credits or something
For
like
an
that.
honors class?
I think so, if there's one
Okay,
class like
if
that.
one of those exists, I need to like learn about that immediately because
like
we
mul-
should not have honors classes where students are, you know, it's being counted as
I don't-
AP or labeled as AP.
I know there was, it's like multivariable calculus, I think at one point, that's like an example, right? It's like an
Okay.
honors course, but, I did this from a while back,
Yeah.
but then it became, you get like AP credits for that, but I was thinking maybe that's something you want to explore, but
No.
that's all. Those are my questions,
Right.
thank you.
Almost surprised like AP hasn't, like the AP company hasn't put out like 2 different tests, because if you look at United
Right.
States history, it's such a huge range.
You would
Going
think
back
actually,
to
right.
Columbus
Yeah.
to September 11th and beyond, you could almost have 2 tests, you know, through the Civil War and modern United States history.
I don't
But to do
I don't
all of it
disagree with you.
to do all of it in 1 year would be challenging. But yeah, it's a good point. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
Good discussion. Thank you.
Quick questions. Were the AP teachers for AP history involved in rewriting curriculum to address this?
I can't tell you off the top of my head which teachers wrote it, but that would be my guess. I mean, I know it's true of the human geography course, the new one. The person
circulate
who,
around, so.
well, the curriculum is always written by, it's the teachers writing the curriculum. It isn't supervisors. Supervisors are working with teachers who write it, and generally you are having teachers who are the ones who will be teaching the course and most familiar with it are the ones writing it. But again, it's summer work, so they have to apply for it and be available to do it.
But the AP teachers know that this change is coming and know that the honors history 1 will then feed into
Yes.
AP history 2?
Oh, absolutely. This has been an ongoing discussion
Okay.
that
Just
I've
checking.
seen the agendas and all the notes from, so yes.
And,
I actually, your AP US history teacher.
You're not on.
curriculum.
You're not on.
I'm fairly certain the AP US history is teaching.
That's how we generally
I'm gonna
do
say, I
things,
know that,
yeah.
I was talking to him the other day.
Yeah.
And then my other question is, there was a suggestion that we don't have a push anymore, I thought. We still have AP US history, right?
Yes.
That's still an offering?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure that
Sophomore
I
year,
understand that.
yes.
Any other questions on academic or FFT? Seeing none, we're up to personnel with Ms. Calistri.
Our next meeting is August 12th,
Thank you.
5 o'clock virtual.
Are there any liaison or delegate reports? Well, all right then. Then we're going to go straight to item number 7, our public comment period. Individuals and/or groups are invited to present their concerns, comments, and requests to the Board of Education at this time for any matters. In accordance with board policy, members of the public are allotted one opportunity to address the board for a maximum of 5 minutes during this period of the meeting. Please be advised that a video recording of this meeting will be posted on the district's website, and we ask that you state your name and municipality for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Chris. I live in the Bridgewater. This is my concern is about the Bradley Garden School. I'm trying to keep myself calm because what I found there was very frustrating. I would like to know if the teachers, the school staff, department heads, principal, and superintendent are responsible for the waste at Bradley Garden School. During the 24-25 school year, walking at night and on the weekends, I would see 1 to 3 smart boards on over the weekend, like I said, at night. Would say to myself, would it be me, the teacher doesn't have time to come in early? Maybe they're going to be running late the next day. But it was some of those months I would find at school, the smart boards would be on 20 to 30 nights in a month. What really upset me came, and what made me come here tonight was happened on July 2nd. I was walking past the school. I found 9 classrooms with the lights on. 3 smart boards on, and again, school ended on the 12th, 24th, and it's July 2nd. And all lights on the gym, all lights in the gym were on at 11 p.m. No one was in the building, no vehicles were in the parking lot. It was deserted. Next day I called the school board. The only person I could speak to was the superintendent's secretary. She was a very nice lady. I explained my concerns, saying I understand that lights need to be on for security, but not 9 classrooms. Hallway lights, some lights, but not 9 classrooms, especially now all 32 lights in the gym. She said she understands and would take care of it. Next week I walked past the school, the lights were off, but the smart boards were still on. All the lights were on, still in the gym, and now 4 air conditioners were running full blast at 10 o'clock at night. Now, to waste more money, let's waste even more money. With the 15 to 22% increase in electric prices this year, and another 5 to 10% next year, we taxpayers have to live within our budget. The government just raises taxes. Next, on 7/26 at 5 p.m., I walked past the school. I noticed there were, no vehicles in the parking lot, but 6 doors were wide open. Windows were open. I was so frustrated. Also, the ACs were on still, and the gym lights were on. I was so frustrated, I had to walk away. I came back at 11 o'clock at night. I found another door open, door 111. I called up the Bridgewater police. They had to send 2 officers to go through the school to make sure it was secure. Again, gym lights were on, and the smart boards were on. Last night, I walked past the school. Still, 3 smart boards are on, 3 air conditioners were running. At least somebody was able to shut off the gym lights. I'd just like to know why are we wasting so much money? With all that money wasted, and that's just at Bradley going to school. What's happening at other schools? Are we wasting all the money over there with the other electric being wasted and buildings not being secured? And also last night, I found 3 windows wide open. Please, I know, Mr. Walker, you were talking about taking care of the buildings. This is not being taken care of the buildings. It's just a waste. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm a mother of 2, one entering 7th grade and one entering 3rd grade this fall. Our family lived in
Please state your
Bridgewater.
name and municipality for the record, please.
Oh, my name is Fei Xiao, and I sent an email before this meeting to you, Mr. Singer, and you may remind the name of me. We've lived in Bridgewater for 8 years. Before moving here, I looked at towns like Branchburg, Hillsborough, and Flemington. Now I chose Bridgewater. Even with the higher property taxes, because I believe the school here would offer the best education for my children. Now I've learned that my daughter has been placed in an AI class with 28 students. That is too many for this kind of learning this program is meant to provide. AI is supposed to foster independent thinking, personal growth, and one-on-one support. But with 28 students in 25 minutes, how much individual attention can a teacher give? 1 minute per kid if no one sneezes? And let's talk about the teacher. Imagine standing in front of 28 students who need specialized support. 56 curious eyes, or asking questions, discussing project, or just chatting about their weekends. That's not teaching, that's crowd control. Honestly, this is at least a 2-teacher job. And right now, we are asking one person to do it all. But this isn't just about one class. Behind every student are 28 families who care deeply. This issue touches the entire district. Large class sizes don't just affect learning, they affect moral, teacher retention, school rankings, and even Bridgewater's home value. If families start to feel the quality of education is slipping, they've beginning asking questions whether this is the right place for them. And this affects all of us. It's summer break, most family are on vacation, but 4 of us, the mother of the kids, came here because we believe this matters, not just for our own kids, but for the future of Bridgewater schools. So I asked the board, please considering reduce the class size for AI or providing additional support. Let's just not settle for good enough. Let's stay excellent. Thank you so much.
Good evening, board members. My name is Amal. I'm also from Bridgewater. I'm also a parent of a student in the 2nd grade of AI program. I wanted to start by saying I fully echo what the previous mom just shared. The class size issue is very real, and I appreciate the opportunities to add another perspective here. This year, the AI class is going to be 28 students, as mentioned, with just one single teacher. And that's 28-to-1 student-teacher ratio, which is more than double the Bridgewater-Raritan district average, around 11-to-1, and far above the New Jersey elementary average of 12-to-1. Even in neighborhood districts like Basking Ridge or Morristown, student-teacher ratios tend to stay between 10 and 15-to-1, especially in specialized or talented learning programs. And this isn't just a statistical issue, it's impacting the learning experiences. So the previous mom has shared what it looks like and the impact for a whole class and the teacher. What I wanted to zoom in to one student here. My daughter, who is naturally a curious and thoughtful learner, she told me about a day when she had something she was really proud that she wanted to share, but the teacher was so busy and the time was so tight. She never get the chance. She shrugged it off, but I can tell she was deeply disappointed, and she said it's hard for the teacher to see us all, and this happens quite a lot. So that comment really stayed with me. These are academically independent students, and yet their ability to fully engage is really limited, not because of a lack of effort from the student, but simply because the structure is stretched too thin. We deeply value this program in Bridgewater, and the intention behind it. To truly support the purpose, we strongly ask the board to consider splitting the class into 2 or adding another teacher to bring the ratio to a level that is better reflects both district norms and what we know supports effective learning. Thank you again for your attention and for your services to our children.
So my name is Lu Yu, and I also live in Bridgewater for about 10 years. So we are coming from the same class, so I'm also among of our 2nd year AI students who is going to 3rd grade. So I echo with the 2 previous mom have been said. I think they said very well. I'm just going to add something. I guess first I want to thank you for all the board members here to for your support and effort for our families, students, and parents. But this is one issue that's been bothering us for quite some time. And here we only have 4 parents, but I have been talking to several other parents of the AI class, and they all share the same concern, and they really want to come here tonight, but just time doesn't fit for them, and so they asked me to kind of speak for them. So I want to make sure it's not just for parents having the issues. Definitely, majority of the class having the issues. I would say like for my son, who is probably like the second youngest child in the class, currently we have 21 children for the second grade AI, and then we're going to add 7 more kids for the third grade. So even with 21 students for second grade, it has been a challenging. Like I have been to all the class parties in the last year, and I can see that the teacher has been struggling just taking care of each one of them. And, we have normally 4 or 5 parents to help, but still it's challenging. So I can't even imagine how the third grade class teacher can take care of 28, or even something less than that for the class size. And I also want to bring something like I think the New Jersey Administrative Code is called 6A 13-3.1. It says a cap of 21 students in grades K to 3 for high poverty districts. I know we're not high poverty district, but that's just like something we can reference to. And even outside of that context, many districts and educators recommend class size of 18 to 22 for around 20 for third grade. So like research and classroom experience alike show that once you reach over 20, it becomes increasingly difficult for a teacher to effectively meet individual needs, particularly in a isolated or enrichment learning setting, which is AI class. So like we respectfully urge the district to consider dividing this cohort into 2 classes, both for the benefits for the students and also for the teachers' ability to deliver high quality instruction. We also hope this leads to a more consistent policy on class size, not just for one AI class, but for all the classes in this district. I have been learning that in the past few years, a lot of parents has to come here to speak about their concerns about the class size. I don't feel like that should be something we have to continually coming back to. I think the district should set up something reasonable for the class size. Once you reach that limit, you will just be divided. Nobody has to come here to argue about that issue. That's pretty much what I had. Thanks a lot.
Hello, good evening, board members. I'm here also to express the concern over the class size of AI program. I just want to mention one point that's not covered by other parents. That's very important. It's about health and safety concern. So if there are too many kids in one classroom, there are quite a few risks as below. So first is spread of illness. So more students in a confined space increase the chance of spreading virus and infections. Second, they limit emergency response. So with more students, evacuation or crisis response is harder. And the last is physical space constraints. So crowding can make classrooms physically unsafe. That will increase risk tripping hazards, poor ventilation, and limit access to exits. That's all. Thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of public comment. Thank you all for your comments, and the board and administration will take that under advisement. Is there any response from the? Thank you.
Could I ask like a follow like a question kind of?
No, that would be under new business, world business. Item number 8, approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any further changes to the minutes? Seeing none, Mr. Lumsky, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Asuna,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Dr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Pepe,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Kalistri,
Yes.
Mr. Singer.
Yes, the motion passes. We're going now to item number 9, Up first is Personnel 2601 through Personnel 2603.
So moved.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none. Mr. Lumsky.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Asuna,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Dr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Pepe,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Kalistri,
Yes.
Mr. Singer.
Yes, the motion passes. We're up to Curriculum 2601 through Curriculum 2605.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or concerns? Seeing none. Mr. Lumsky, please call the roll.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Asuna,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Dr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Pepe,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Kalistri,
Yes.
Mr. Singer.
Yes, the motion passes. We're moving on to Business 2601 through Business 2618.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Dr. Lee.
Have a question or a comment, whichever way it should be looked at. Business 26.8, the bid threshold. I see that it's being increased. I understand that there is a cost of living adjustment and everything, but I do see that this threshold is being increased by like 20% or so. I wonder like how do we, how does this number compare to our neighboring district of the same size in terms of like this bid threshold?
So the bid threshold is allowed to be changed every 5 years. So this has been after 5 years, and majority of districts that have a QPA adopt whatever the maximum is.
Okay.
The
All right.
maximum is now 53,000.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Anyone else? I would like to thank the Milltown School PTO for providing some water purification systems for our Milltown students. I know that Mr. Lumsky really appreciates that. And
Yes.
With that, Mr. Lumsky, please call the roll.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Asuna,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Dr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Pepe,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Kalistri,
Yes.
Mr. Singer.
Yes, the motion passes. We're up to Special Services 2601 through Special Services 2605.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none. Mr. Lumsky, please call the roll.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Asuna,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Dr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Pepe,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Recuse on SS 2601, yes on the others.
Ms. Kalistri,
Yes.
Mr. Singer.
Yes, the motion passes. We're up to Other 2601. If there are any questions or comments, we need to go into closed session, so is there any need for that to happen?
So moved. Oh, you haven't.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. All right. Well, Pete, is there any need to go into closed? Seeing none. Mr. Lumsky, please call the roll.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Asuna,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Dr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Pepe,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Kalistri,
Yes.
Mr. Singer.
Yes, the motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Lee. There is no policy, so we are up to old business, item number 10. Is there any old business on the table? Seeing none, we're up to item number 11, new business. Is there any new business to be brought? Dr. Lee.
Over the summer, I was able to take my kids to a few of the historical houses around Somerset County, particularly Bridgewater. I think we all know that Bridgewater has been, rich in history of the, George Washington's have slept in many of our places, and there's also like the Van Vochten houses, and that supplied the military with supplies. What I've learned is that the coming year is the 250th anniversary of the founding of this country, or the Declaration of Independence. And I know that the Somerset County Historical Society has been trying to do a lot of activities, programs, and rehab some of the sites. I wonder, like I know the summer we're trying to figure out some curriculum and stuff. Would that be an opportunity to look into how our programs, our students can kind of like be part of this big 250 anniversary celebration? Like we are like center of history of can our I would like to see if our academic team have a way to kind of help our students learn, be proud, enjoy the history, be part of the history, and at the same time support our local historical society event. So I would like to bring this up for you.
We can definitely add this into a conversation at academic committee, and in fact, I can have the social studies supervisor come to that committee. She's all over this. I mean, on the website for the New Jersey Department of Education, they actually have a partnership right now, so it's the Revolutionary New Jersey School Partnership Program with schools, and I did exactly what you did, Lucy. I looked through all the different options in the calendar over the summer so that I could go visit places. I can't make my kids anymore, but I can go. But yes, it's something we can do. Barry and I were joking earlier that not all of us sitting up here remember, right, the bicentennial, but some of us were in school at that time.
Wow.
And there were celebrations that I remember still to this day as really standing out for me in my educational journey. And so we have I think a wonderful history department. The standards are interesting in New Jersey. If you look at the New Jersey Department of Ed website, like civic and civic responsibility is everywhere. It's in the mission, it's in the vision, it's civic-minded, globally aware, socially responsible, exemplifies fundamental values of democracy and human rights through active participation. There's a lot of emphasis on active participation. It's integrated through also the standards from the time kids are in kindergarten all the way through their senior year. Middle school, actually, there's a mandate that came out, I don't remember when it was, a couple of years ago, I guess it was, the Laura Wooten law, which required that we actually had to revise the curriculum in middle school. So all of 7th grade is basically a civics course for 7th graders. They do the roots of American democracy, the Declaration and the Constitution, American ideals and the new nation, citizens and community. And like I said, it's in the standards as well. So it's really everywhere throughout the history curriculum. But if you're talking about programs and kind of that extra stuff, that's
extra
not
stuff.
necessarily curriculum, but those kind of celebratory things that people remember, we can absolutely talk about those things.
That would be
Certainly.
wonderful. Yes.
Yep.
Because 250 years, I
It's a
think
big
in the
deal.
lifetime
big
of our
deal.
students,
Yes.
it is a big deal. And let that be part of their memorable moment for their academic careers.
There are a lot of opportunities because if you look at like this day in history, it's like every day there's some major event that we're coming up on 250 of, even before the actual declaration. But you know, the Battle of this,
So I'm glad.
I added it to my list.
Wonderful.
For August, yes.
Yes. Thank
And
you.
I also think we could talk about it in community relations. We could ask Jen, because there might be things that can be done. You
So
know what
let's
I'm saying?
add it to community relations. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I do have the
Which you could
contact.
probably just email Jen.
Right. I'll send the contact information with the Somerset County Society to Karen and Jen, and we'll figure this out. Thank you.
If I may, I'd like to also kind of reiterate what Dr. Lee mentioned about, celebrating 250th anniversary. As you know, it's a big celebratory moment for our entire nation. I think also for our school district as well, because as she mentioned, a lot of things I think happened here all throughout history, right? About the Middlebrook encampment, this is a place where one of the first American flags were introduced in our town, which I think is honestly something that is so cool. And it doesn't look like that one with the circle. It's like kind of spread out throughout. And I think that's pretty cool, right? We have our own flavor here in Bridgewater. Raritan, I guess, used to be part of Bridgewater. So it's also a Raritan history as well. And so, I know I recently shared what I think shouldn't be a controversial kind of resolution that, we should be considering, maybe, we should be finding ways to kind of celebrate it and really, memorialize this moment. Because I think for a lot of students, hopefully, they'll have an opportunity to experience the 250th anniversary. I know I didn't really get to, obviously, and I wasn't there during the 200th because I wasn't really born, but minor detail, yeah. But, I'm thinking, like, why don't we kind of commemorate it? And I just wanted to see what people's thoughts are on it. You know, what do you guys think about, you know, kind of celebrating this moment?
I think I saw that the resolution that you sent to the board. I suggest that we look at it and think about it for our next meeting so that people can have a chance to read through it. But I think that was a great idea. As we as a board to be part of the celebration of 250 of the independence as well.
I guess as a little follow-up, you know, what could we like maybe talk about in like community relations? Is that something you want to put as well on the agenda on top of what was discussed there?
I think that we can add that resolution to both, right?
Right.
Is that fine? I mean,
Well, and as it touches on curriculum, I would suggest that academic also talk about it.
right.
Right.
that's
I mean,
both.
I think honestly, curriculum-wise, you know, we can always look at curriculum, but curriculum's written, it will be approved next month. But if you look through it, you'll see, like, I mean, there's a standard that speaks to civics, and there's a mandate that speaks to civics, and it's in the mission, it's in the vision. There's a course on, I mean, we have it. This, to me, seems like more like a once-in-a-lifetime event that you want to highlight and celebrate in a way that maybe isn't curriculum related, but it's like, what are the other things that you can do to
Like a solar eclipse
Yes.
kind of a thing.
solar eclipse? Yes. So, I mean, to me, that's the discussion, really, unless I'm misunderstanding.
No, my only issues are, A, I got it an hour before the meeting, so I haven't had a chance to fully digest it. And B, there seems to be certain language in there that I think needs to be discussed amongst board members before it's brought, before it's brought for a vote. There are issues on there that touch upon curriculum, and I want to make sure that nothing in there is conflating the NJSLA standards or confusing them, and I want to make sure that we have everything that we need in the first place.
Can I make a couple remarks? This resolution doesn't intend to change the curriculum. It doesn't intend to interfere with the student learning standards. This resolution simply exists to celebrate the 250th bicentennial. There's nothing political about this. I hope that there's nothing political or nothing concerning from a language perspective about the idea that we can be patriotic, love our country, and believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But of course, you know, I'll listen to the rest of the board, and I'll let the rest of the board decide what they want, how they want to feel about this resolution. But I think it's something that we should all be universally, hopefully, supporting, especially as Americans. Hopefully, that's all.
Yeah, we'll look at the resolution because I've seen quite a few other resolutions as well, so we can see what language fits the narrative.
Just a comment. As someone who lived through the bicentennial, I don't remember anything that we did at school, like whatsoever, but I remember in Bound Brook, about 100 guys were camped out in little white tents at the park for 3 weeks, and we all went down there and we dipped candles and we pretended that it was 200 years ago, and it is a memory that is singed in my brain. But it was not a school thing. It was a lived experience.
We do have a school field trip that does that, actually.
We did it. Red Mill.
Yeah.
Right. The Red Mill does that.
Kind of
Is
funny.
that third or fourth grade?
It's second grade.
Second grade?
As part of a national celebration for the bicentennial, there were wagon trains that crossed the country. So I actually had the opportunity to ride the wagon train from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia for 3 weeks for the celebration where Gerald Ford was in Valley Forge. So those who, the experience, no, I'm just saying that was something that, I wouldn't have experienced otherwise. And my dad had a friend with a wagon and we went. It was oddly enough at the, back in 1976, but it makes me feel old, but it was an experience. And Gerald Ford came and celebrated at Valley Forge on July 4th, the scientific freshman. So some things that have happened. I don't remember much I did in school. That one sticks out in my mind because, 3 weeks in a wagon across Pennsylvania. A long time.
Dr. Lee?
I would like to move on to another new business item if we're done with the 250 discussion. So I want to follow up on the topic about gifted and talented that our parents are here to speak about. From the sound of it, sounds like we have one single class at each grade level. Is that true for our AI program at this point?
That's accurate, right? For second, third, and fourth, yes.
Second, third, and fourth.
Yes. Fifth grade, you're in two different schools, so.
Right.
Right.
So I was a former AI parent. I think when my child was going into it, that was like quite a while ago. There's at the max 4 parallel class. I don't know like what's the class size back then. It's probably not 28, but I remember there were more kids that's able to have access to the AI program. I know that we're aiming to expand the gifted and talented access, because I think we have an excellent school. We have very supportive families, and excellence is a very important aspect in our education in this town. I was curious, right? So this drastic change in the total class size, right? From when my son was in a four parallel class to now 1 class. I'm curious, like, was there like a reason that we can attribute to? Is there like, do we have like the selection criteria that's much higher, or are we able to satisfy our students' need in their gifted and talented needs?
Yeah, we'll split this one. So as far as the gifted and talented services, that's something we've talked about many times before. And really what necessitated that change was a combination of kind of our practices, where we had, remember, the ESL sections only in some schools, the gifted and talented in another. I was straight out told that it was discriminatory, because it was like, some kids might need both services, and we couldn't do it that way. So we Yeah. So we expanded the services across all the schools. So now AI isn't across all the schools, because it just wouldn't be sustainable to try to actually create that program in each school. But we still have it, located in Hamilton School, but we offer these other services. So what has happened now over the last several years is, first of all, we did initially change criteria. Like, I don't know when that was, like 3 years ago. Remember, we looked at the criteria, right? Because we took out the 1 quality point for this and the 3 quality points for that, because we thought it was really not being very transparent. The first year, we did get some pushback, because we were unable to figure out what our local scores were, because you're really supposed to create gifted and talented programs to meet the needs of students who cannot be challenged because they're so above their chronological peers that we can't meet their needs by differentiating in a classroom. So sometimes, like if you're in a school where all the kids are gifted, for example, you don't need a pull-out or different gifted and talented program, because you can, meet their needs that way. So you're supposed to establish local norms. We initially couldn't establish local norms because of the fact that we were not universally screening students. We were asking parents to sign their kids up and bring their kids for testing on Saturdays. So once we started universally screening, we needed that first year to get the number, to see who those kids were who were outperforming their peers, which we did. That was like 3 years ago. So the change this year, really with the 1 class where it's a higher number, was the appeals process. So, and that was also something I heard about a little bit last year from some parents who felt like, oh, if we're not doing the cognitive test, the COGAT test every year, they wouldn't be identified. But actually what in fact happened this past year is there were kids who were in that grade level where you weren't COGATed again, but you did take the MAP test and you met all the criteria. And we had some kids who, when we reviewed their appeals, we were like, yeah, these students definitely belong there. And so that 1 section of AI did grow beyond kind of the typical numbers of the other classes. And from there, I'm going to let Dr. Fonder take over.
All right, so I was going to give a little bit of a different, since, as you know, I was the principal of Hamilton School for about 10 years. The primary school AI moved to Hamilton in 2013, so I was started as principal in 2010, so I can speak to it kind of from that point on. The number of sections per grade level range from 1 to 3, so with 2 being probably the most common, but 1 to 3 sections. I don't, at least in the time that I was principal of Hamilton School, there weren't any ever 4 sections of AI, but there definitely were 3, and the cohort size during those years kind of ranged from anywhere from 18 to 20 total students to about 65 total students. Right now, the district's in a period of declining enrollment, and so the classes at the high school, each grade level cohort has 700-something students, and our cohorts at the lower grades, at the elementary grades, have 500 something students, so it is significantly smaller there. So you would expect that there would be less students in the cohort. I also had the experience of talking to parents whose children were accepted into AI, and they were making this decision of whether their second grader, third grader was going to leave their neighborhood school, leave all of their friends to come to Hamilton School. So I would kind of talk to them about how good Hamilton School is, and they said, but then my first name's Dan, little Danny would leave all of his friends. And I say, yeah, that's a hard part of this choice. Obviously, the parents from Hamilton School, it was a little bit easier because they weren't changing schools. So by having gifted services in the other schools, I do think that kind of changes the idea of either I pick my neighborhood school and no gifted programming, or moving schools, and that's the only way to get the gifted programming. Now there's gifted programming in the schools, which is a great way to do it, and so then it doesn't feel like an all or nothing type decision. So those, I think, contribute to where, you know, there's other options that there maybe weren't in the 2010s. And before that, in the 2000s, I was an AI teacher, so I taught fourth grade AI for most of those years, and the class sizes varied. There were, because of it's a cohort within a grade level cohort. There were some times where I had a class of 18 students, and there were other times that I had a class of 27 students, and so I don't think I ever had 28, but I did have 27, 26, like those types of things. So the AI is interesting because the choice then with 28 students would be a class of 28 or two classes of 14 if you're doing it that way. And our board policy for class size is 2312, 2312, and so it establishes that there's a minimum and a maximum number of students, and then there's a desired range. So it's actually a little bit more descriptive than a lot of districts' class size policy is. So it has the minimum for grades 1 through 4 being 18, the maximum being 30, and the number of students desired 18 to 23, which is exactly where most of our classes fall at those grade levels, as some of the speakers mentioned, that 18 to 22 or 18 to 23 is where we'd want them to be. So when you have more students than that, that is a question that's hard to, because it doesn't fit in the pattern. The smaller the cohort, the more likely it is that that's going to happen. At Hillside and Eisenhower School with our 5th and 6th grade, when we gather a lot of students together, this doesn't happen because the cohorts are bigger. But at the primary schools and with the AI, this does sometimes happen from time to time.
Well, I appreciate all the thoughtful, consideration for helping okay, turning this on. I appreciate the thoughtful consideration that you guys have put in there. I think I can see, you're trying to serve all students, and I'm thankful for the parents who are also coming to speak. I wonder if this is a time for us to look at it over, the past 2-3 years, because things have changed, and should we look at again whether we're serving this group of students as well as we're serving all the students in our district. We want to make sure that we satisfy all the students' needs as much as that we can. So if we are seeing this, let's say, decline in the student in this program, more so than our overall decline in our enrollment, right? So it sounds like the AI class size has dropped at least half, but our total enrollment hasn't, right? So if we need to look at it, are we able to identify and provide a service for this gifted talented students cohort as we were able to as a district overall? So if we can maybe look into that. Thank you.
You mentioned that we have certain schools because you're looking at the local group. Do we have other classrooms that are certain elementary schools that are providing that kind of service without being in the official AI classroom? And if so, do we have openings in those classrooms that would bring the overall average down, where they would still be receiving the same kind of services, just not at Hamilton?
There's some variation in the services. When we look at the individual schools, when we're identifying kids for small group investigations or for the cluster group in math, right? Because that's the other thing that we have. We're really looking at their local school norms, because that's where we have to determine what services those students need so that they're appropriately challenged. When we look at AI, because we're looking across the 7 primary buildings, we're looking at the norms of the overall norms. We're not looking at the individual schools in that case. What's different is the services in AI, what it's really supposed to be is like a grade level advanced, but where that actually happens is in math and in English. It's not in social studies and science. And so what's interesting about the program and how it was established at some point is, math and English are very different subjects. You learn them in very different ways. And so math is really linear. So there is a point at which like you're going a year ahead, or kids can, really to wind up in our most advanced math in our district, what you're going to wind up in is 7th grade algebra, right? And so you can get to 7th grade algebra in multiple ways. One way could be AI, it could be E classes. There are multiple ways you can test in after 6th grade. But that's where you're like a year accelerated, where they compact curriculum so that you can do algebra, which is really kind of 2 grade levels early. In English doesn't work that way. So kids like read at all different levels, right? And like part of the way that we're teaching kids to read and then English later on in high school is you're looking at like the lexile, the level, how sophisticated a text is, and then how sophisticated a student can interact with a text and write in response to a text. And so that's not really like a grade level above. English doesn't work in that same way. So what the AI program is actually providing, it's a pathway to the 7th grade algebra, though there are other ones, but when you're looking at it more from a genuine, this is like the gifted and talented law, our purpose is these are kids who, if they're in other classrooms, maybe they are so outperforming their peers that this is just beneficial to them. Could we offer it in other ways? We could. It wouldn't be exactly that because you wouldn't be able to separate kids across that many buildings and give them this program. But really what you're looking for is probably the acceleration in math is, and we could provide that in other ways. That's something we could do.
I'm sorry, are we even allowed to shift kids like that between
And
buildings?
just, I think what Dan said, and I thank you because I forgot to say this, it is true that what's been interesting in the last couple of years, there were people who have met the criteria to be in AI, but they choose not to now because there's something at their school, and they just want to stay in their home school with their neighbors and siblings. So that's happened as well.
And over the summer, you do reassess. Is that correct? Because you'll know the final numbers, how it's going to shake
We
out.
reassess for math cluster group because kids, their ability, their change all the time. And also we reassess for small group investigation. Once you're in AI, we do not remove a student from AI unless there's a reason. But I actually can't think of an instance that I recall where we removed a kid from AI. I don't remember that.
I have just a general question. I know it's been brought up, class sizes. This isn't obviously the first time, but like, are you seeing class sizes increasing and like in general, the teachers and the students, has that ratio been increasing a lot, especially in I know people mention Bradley Garnes, and especially in our AI programs, has that been a trend or?
No, the short answer is no. The things that you've heard about are exceptions, and so there really isn't any increase in class size. That particular class that was mentioned, 28 students, is well above the Bridgewater Raritan average class size for elementary schools, and so that definitely is an exception. But in general, no. If there was an unlimited budget, if the board members felt like whatever amount of teachers we put out there, that all the board members would vote yes and would we could staff with however many teachers we would want, then we would certainly always err on the lower class size because there wouldn't be that. But you're in a public school district balancing the budgetary constraints with the staffing needs.
Got it. So is there any kind of solutions that you guys can think about, either supporting that teacher or figuring out how we can kind of figure out how to reduce that number, I guess, at the end of the day? Or is it kind of there's very little flexibility in respect to that?
We'll definitely talk to Mr. Beers and about the different possibilities, but really because this is a cohort within a cohort, I'm saying it that way because it's the third grade AI students within the total third grade of Hamilton, and there's curricular differences. Having some of those students move to another third grade class at Hamilton has complexities that wouldn't really work. So then the choices would be one teacher supported, but one teacher working with the 28 students. The last enrollment report I have from the principal said 27 students, but I'm not doubting that there's 28 because I'm sure that there's people with their finger on the pulse of it. So one teacher with the 28 students, or the two teachers with the 14 students each, which would be by far the lowest third grade class size in the school district.
Okay.
And it would be something, right, and I mean, the board has a policy. It doesn't mean that couldn't happen. There's no state law that's informing this policy, but it is significantly different than the other class sizes. But on the other side, the 28 is significantly different also.
Yeah, of course. All right, thank you.
Any other new business? Seeing none, I'll take a motion.
Motion to adjourn?
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Although it doesn't come up here on the future public board meetings, we have our retreat on August 5th at 6 o'clock. Thank you. Have a good night.